Hey buddy, welcome back to the channel and to World of Warships. So it's Sunday morning and I'm up early drinking a cup of coffee. Thought I showcase this game today. It's a tier 7 game in the British destroyer Jervis. And this was a game that I played yesterday, Saturday morning, when I sat down to start grinding the first stage of the last part of the Exeter missions. And that part was getting 7 achievements in a destroyer, cruiser or battleship of tier 6 to 8 in ranked or random. Now first off, when I saw this stage I thought, hey, easy peasy, because many of these stages I had finished in co-op. So I was pretty much thinking that I just slap on the old ramming flag on my British destroyer, and then I would just YOLO into co-op games, either killing a enemy destroyer, a bot destroyer, for the first blood achievement, or I would just simply ram them for maybe getting the Die Hard achievement. But unfortunately it seems like Wargaming actually had foreseen this, so they had narrowed down the way you could achieve this criteria by only playing in ranked or random. So I was like, bugger this for a bunch of bananas. So I just thought I sit down and try a couple of games in the Jervis instead, and actually was quite lucky, because this was the first game I played in the Jervis, and then I also had some follow-up games. First in the Belfast, where I managed to get 3 achievements: the First Blood, High Caliber and Confederate. And then I managed to follow up in a couple of games in the tier 7 Battleship Nelson, where I managed to get Fireproof and Dreadnought. Tier 7 Nelson is of course a great battleship to play for getting these kind of achievements, because it's pretty much a tier 7 carbon copy of the tier 10 British battleship, the Conqueror, in that way that it has a insane high fire chance on its HE shells, just like the Conqueror, and it also have that insane tier 9, tier 10 British battleship heal. So you have a pretty easy time getting 4 different achievements in that ship. If you just fire spam the enemy fleet the entire game, you have a big possibility in getting Wither or Arsonist, and by getting yourself in a position where you can tank for your team and use your insane heals, you can also get Dreadnought and Fireproof quite easily. So if you do have access to the HMS Nelson, I would strongly recommend you using that battleship for this part of the mission. And HMS Nelson is a ship that I can highly recommend for all you guys. It's available to everyone in the tech tree, and you can purchase it for, I think it's 375 free XP. And of course it's being a pretty great tier at tier 7, which means that it will see probably a bit more tier 5, 6 matchmaking than tier 8, 9. But of course with that insane high tier British battleship heal, you will also do pretty well in higher tier matchmaking as well. So I started out by taking out the American destroyer, the Nicholas, in this game, earning me my first kill. And now I have a enemy Exeters, the tier 6 British destroyer, and also a Emile Bartin, a French cruiser, on this flank. As you can see on the minimap, my team is playing pretty passive on this flank. They are way in the back, so I have pretty much no support. And as you can see, I was looking behind me because I realized that I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, pretty much, with this big island behind me. So I felt like I had to push forward, so I had a way out, because I didn't know if that destroyer was gonna spot me, and I was gonna be in a pretty much a world of hurt with this French cruiser. So I launched my torps a bit preemptively against this cruiser, and it looks like at least 2 are successful. So now I feel pretty confident in taking this French cruiser on, because I always have the opportunity to smoke up and dodge in behind this big island that I now have positioned between me and the French cruiser. And I mean, I must say I really like this British destroyer, the tier 7 Jervis. That said, I can't really say that it is a strong ship. I mean, it has a pretty crappy concealment at 6.3 kilometers detection, and your torps only reach out to 7 kilometers, which means, well, you pretty much have a window of 700 meters of stealth torping enemy ships, which isn't really that great, because that means you have 0 chance possibility to chase down fleeing battleships and torping them. So you pretty much need to have enemy ships pushing your position to be able to torp them. But even though it's bad concealment and pretty crappy range on the torps, I really feel like the Jervis is a pretty fun destroyer to play, actually, because you have 3 consumables of the British short-range hydro, which pretty much just helps you with not eating torps in smokes. And you have these British really short duration smokes. So you can't really sit and fire spam enemy battleships like you can in the US destroyers. And you can't really use your hydro to push out enemy destroyers or YOLO enemy destroyers in caps like you can in the German destroyers, who has, of course, much more stronger German hydro than these British destroyers. But you can really be one of those pesky little gunboat destroyers that just duck in and out of concealment and just do a bit of ship damage here and a bit of ship damage there, and using your short duration smokes to just ducka for a couple of seconds and just bail out and just be like a constant pain in the butt for the enemy team, pretty much. And that is pretty much what I like in this destroyer. Playing this on Saturday morning, I actually also had the chance to unlock and research the tier 8, the Lightning, which is actually a much more stronger destroyer than the Jervis, in that sense that it has a concealment of 5.5, which is really competitive, and it has 8 kilometer torps. Now, of course, being tier 8, that destroyer will see a whole lot of more tier 9 and 10 games than the Jervis, and 8 kilometer torps are not really that competitive in that tier. And of course you will have to deal with a whole lot of more radar ships at that tier than the Jervis has to. But still, pretty fun destroyer line to play. So I managed to kill off the Emil Bertin and also the low health Icarus that had been patrolling this flank. My team is dying really quickly around me, so it's only me and a friendly Dallas in this part of the map. And on the other side, well, my team just got melted. We had a cruiser that just YOLO pushed right into the enemy fleet and suicided, and then we had some couple of ships just hugging the northern border of the map, which kind of sucked. But at least we had a pretty decent game. Now I'm just trying to do some ship damage, maybe getting some permafires on this Gneisenau, because I know he used his damage con earlier when I managed to get a flood on him with my torps. So I'm just trying to stay within my gun range and trying to help my friendly Dallas out as much as possible. Seeing if I can maybe help him ship down this enemy Gneisenau. But I do have the strong feeling that I won't really be able to pull this win off. We have a low health enemy Dallas pushing, so of course I will switch to him, because he will be a much more easier target for me to finish off. And of course, being a destroyer, you never want to have a fire spamming US light cruiser nearby, because he will probably do a lot more damage to you than the enemy Gneisenau at this point. So I launched some preemptive torps using the British single spread torpedo. But it doesn't look like I was successful with my torps. So I'm just turning around and finishing this guy off with my guns. Finishing off him with my guns. Finishing him off. Thank you. Earning me my 4th kill. So at this point I was like, bugger this, I will try and at least go for the Kraken and I could check off my first achievement in this stage. I didn't really feel like I had a chance to push in and try to reset the cap, because I predict that there are at least 4 enemy ships in the cap, or at least nearby, so I would probably get blapped within a couple of seconds trying to go for them. So of course I will go for the easier target, which is this solo isolated Gneisenau. I just have to try and stay clear of his HE shells, and it's just Rambo time. Just pushing in like a madman. And there you go, Kraken unleashed. So at least I can check that box out. Now I did see that very low health La Garçonnière pushing me, so I thought that this could actually be a 6 kill perhaps. I am watching the cap flipping, so I know that I have just a few seconds of getting this done. But you never know, maybe I will get lucky. My torps are up once again. Of course I'm using my Adrenaline Rush Captain skill, but before I'm able to start engaging the cruiser, the game sadly ends. So even though it was a defeat, I managed to get the Kraken and checking off my first achievements. And I actually managed to do the whole segment of this mission in just a couple of games, with also that Belfast game that I showcased before, and also a couple of games in the Nelson where I got those 4 achievements that I spoke of. So those ships are something I can really recommend. So that said, I want to thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Please leave a like and a comment below, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, have a good one. Bye bye.